grab a coffee?
Yeah.
Getting
Good evening. Our top story tonight is, of course, Anthony Richardson. Had his pro day earlier today, and the Raiders are in love. Took him out to dinner last night. General manager Dave Ziegler, the first person to greet him after completing his workout. And Raiders going to host Anthony Richardson for a visit as well. Raiders are in love, but they're not the only team. And we also have several other pro days, including TCU. Fenton Johnston ran today. And we've got news around the NFL. Plenty to cover on Player Profiler today. And really, it is so nice to have actual news this time, because yesterday there just was not a lot to talk about. So we did our mock draft, and it worked out pretty well. And my mock draft looks even more accurate after Anthony Richardson's pro day, because Anthony Richardson, he balled out, he performed stellarly. But there is one disappointing factor about Anthony Richardson: no more backflips. Anthony Richardson says no more backflips. He's not doing it anymore. I'm sure several teams that plan to draft him early told him, hey, knock that off. We don't like the backflips. We don't get hurt. Come on. Don't do that. You're too valuable to backflip. So no more backflips for Anthony Richardson. Of course, it's Anthony Richardson, and he doesn't have the most accurate arm. Will Levis, far more accurate arm than Anthony Richardson, but Richardson does enough in terms of accuracy. And at the end, Anthony Richardson just took the top off. A 74-yard pass, which I'm going to show you here. A 74-yard pass to Justin Shorter. And there will be people, I'm sure, that watch this clip and say, oh, well, look, he slowed down. Look, he's slowing down. He's jogging. That's an underthrow. That's an underthrow there by Anthony Richardson. Rolls to the right, unloads. But that's 74 yards. That is a 74-yard pass. You cannot underthrow a 74-yard pass, because you're not throwing that in the NFL ever. There is not a time on earth where a quarterback will be asked to put the ball 74 yards in the air. This is purely arm strength, same as Will Levis. That's all it is. Doesn't matter about the wide receiver. Doesn't matter that the wide receiver had to slow down, because it's never going to happen. This is just purely a show of arm strength. Anthony Richardson has the strongest arm potentially. Threw it farther than Will Levis did. Will Levis threw it about 64 yards. Anthony Richardson reportedly threw it 74 yards. Now, I didn't get to count myself, taking the word of Twitter, but either way, two cannons of an arm. Anthony Richardson has more upside than Will Levis. He's more athletic, more rushing ability. But Will Levis, a little bit more solid than Anthony Richardson. The arm is just a little bit better. The arm is just more accurate. So it's going to be fun to see where these two end up. Anthony Richardson is still my number one quarterback in terms of dynasty, in terms of fantasy football, because of the Konami code upside. But Will Levis, no slouch either. CJ Stroud, no slouch. Bryce Young, not my favorite in terms of dynasty and superflex. He's my QB4. But the other three, they're battling it out. Going to be interesting to see where they go. But as for Anthony Richardson, he goes ahead and he meets last night. He meets with the Carolina Panthers and goes out to dinner with the Las Vegas Raiders. Not the first time that the Raiders have went out to dinner with a top prospect either. So the Raiders, they're sniffing around that quarterback position. They're still trying to find someone other than Jimmy G to be their quarterback. They flirted with trading up. Panthers beat them to it. But the Raiders are in on these quarterbacks. The Raiders, I'm telling you, by 5 o'clock tomorrow, by that Friday news dump, the Raiders will have traded up to 3. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. But as for Anthony Richardson, whether it's the Raiders at 3, whether it's the Raiders at 7, or it's another team, whether it's the Panthers at 1, because even though he met with the Panthers yesterday, Anthony Richardson will again go and visit the Carolina Panthers and meet with them once again. The Colts are going to host Anthony Richardson. The Falcons are going to host Anthony Richardson. The Titans and the Ravens are both going to host Anthony Richardson. Ravens probably hoping that the Colts give them their first rounder this year in that Lamar Jackson trade, in that offer sheet. Not going to happen. Anthony Richardson not going to be available to the Baltimore Ravens unless they stun the world in a trade up to 3. But how's that going to happen with Lamar Jackson's contract still unresolved? So Anthony Richardson got a lot of options, got a lot of teams interested. But again, the most interested team appears to be the Las Vegas Raiders. And I told you so. And again, I guess you could say, well, Jack, isn't this all smokescreen? It's smokescreen season. Yeah, sure. But does Josh McDaniels really seem like a smokescreen kind of guy? I don't think so. We all knew what was coming for weeks with Derek Carr. We knew that Derek Carr was going to get sat down. We knew Derek Carr was going to be benched. And then it happened. So no, I don't think Josh McDaniels is keeping this one close to the chest. I think I'm just waiting for notifications here. I keep checking my notifications to see if a move has been made for the Raiders to trade to 3 or another team. But it's coming. It's coming before this weekend. I'm telling you now. Cardinals are going to be trading back. Raiders going to be trading up for Anthony Richardson. Immediately after Richardson's pro day, general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, Dave Ziegler, first one to greet him. Feels very much like CJ Stroud with the Carolina Panthers afterwards, talking to quarterback coach Josh McCown. We're going to play some basketball when you live in Charlotte. Felt very much the same. Could it be? Could it be that simple that CJ Stroud is a Panther, Bryce Young is a Texan, Anthony Richardson is a Raider? Curious, very curious, but we're going to keep you up to date with that and with all the other moves around the NFL, including the other players that are getting drafted, because it wasn't even just Anthony Richardson's pro day today. Osiris Torrance, the guard, the mauler, I don't know what word you want to use to say that he just whoops people up and down the field, but that is Osiris Torrance. He is just an ass kicker, to be honest. Osiris Torrance, the ass kicker. Perfect. He's met with the Rams. He's met with the Falcons. He's met with the Saints. And Osiris Torrance has been with the Tennessee Titans. He feels like a Tennessee Titan, like a Mike Vrabel player. It's tough to see the Titans going with a guard at 11 when they've got so many other needs, but it could happen. I mocked Osiris Torrance to the Dallas Cowboys. Seems like their kind of pick, just an ass-kicking offensive lineman, would be perfect to pair with Zach Martin. But either way, Osiris Torrance, he's getting some hype. Anthony Richardson getting some hype. I love Pro Day season. It is truly fantastic. It is truly fantabulous. But you can't beat it. You can't beat Pro Day season. And you can't beat our friends over at Underdog. Underdog brings you the best ball that there is. They bring you the best pickup that there is. Underdog Fantasy brings you everything that you need. They've got tournaments going on right now where you can draft all season long. If you tuned into the last episode of the Writers Roundtable, you got to see Seth and Ahan and Matt Babbage. They all drafted together on Underdog. So use Underdog, sign up, and use promo code Underworld when you sign up for a $100 deposit match. You put in $100, you get $100 back with promo code Underworld over at Underdog Fantasy. But that will bring us to the other pro days around the NFL, because it wasn't even just Florida today. It wasn't just Anthony Richardson. It wasn't just Florida. We got to see the TCU, the Texas Christian University pro day today. And Quentin Johnston ran. Now, we're still waiting for official times, but Cody recording from his couch with the stopwatch on his. I didn't know he had a live stopwatch. He didn't even use his phone. Cody, with the stopwatch, click, click. He got Quentin Johnston with a 4.43. But it was the worst angle we've ever seen. So when you start to hear the whispers from the scouts that were at the TCU Pro Day, sounds as though it was a 4.5 that Quentin Johnston ran, which is fine, which is good. 4.55 for Quentin Johnston, 212 pounds, 6'3". That's all fine. That is all fine and dandy. I just got a little excited with Cody's 4.43 because that would have put him at a 4.48. Quentin Johnston at 4.48. Whew! Lights are out. But Quentin Johnston, he has the speed. He's fine. He's not as much of a deep threat as a Jalen Hyatt, but that's okay. He's a flasher on the outside. He's got more than adequate speed. If it is indeed a 4.5, that'll move him to a 4.55. And that's faster than Michael Thomas, faster than DeAndre Hopkins. So we're good. We don't have to worry about it. It's fine. Check that box for Quentin Johnston. Just would have liked to see a little bit more, and would have liked to see Kendre Miller run the 40. But of course, Kendre Miller, he's coming off of knee surgery, and it seems like it's going pretty well. He's gotten up to 218 pounds following the combine, so he's still working out, still putting on muscle. Didn't have any crazy weight gain following surgery, which is good to see. Kendre Miller is still working out. He's still rehabbing. He's attacking it very well. And he was honest that he probably could have worked out. He's feeling fine. He's feeling good. He thinks he can do most things. The reason he didn't is he knows he hasn't had the time to properly reacclimate, train, and so all of his times are going to be bad. So it's a business decision. It's not because he can't do it. It's because doing the 40 won't be his best foot forward, won't be his best time, and it's going to hurt him. Kendre Miller, no 40-yard dash, but I'm excited. I'm excited for Kendre Miller, even without the measurables, because we know from his film that he is a good athlete. You can see that kind of thing on field. He's got long speed. We just wanted to see it official. We still expect him to have been in that 4.4 range, 4.45, 4.5, but for a 218-pound back, great. Great for Kendre Miller. No worries there. And the fact that he thinks he's going to be ready for minicamp, and the fact that he thinks he's pretty ready right now, but they're just being cautious, they're just being smart about it, I will take that. I think Kendre Miller is going to be underdrafted in the NFL draft, and hopefully he's underdrafted in a lot of your dynasty startups or your dynasty rookie drafts, because Kendre Miller's a stud. He's just a damn stud. And speaking of studs, Tennessee has a couple of those. Tennessee, the Volunteers had their pro day today as well. Tons of pro days today. Hendon Hooker had a little showing at today's pro day. Now, he didn't really do a whole lot. He's still really rehabbing that torn ACL. But Hendon Hooker, he had some warm-up throws in. He did a little bit. Got to see the arm move a little bit, which is more than we saw at the combine. So Hendon Hooker working his way back, doing some warm-up throws, and in attendance. Obviously not just for Hendon Hooker. They're obviously looking at Jalen Hyatt. They're looking at Cedric Tillman. They're looking at all sorts of players for the Tennessee Volunteers. But Packers GM Brian Gutekunst, who, interestingly enough, Cody did, I don't know if you remember this, but Cody mocked Jalen Hyatt to the Green Bay Packers pretty recently. Interesting that the Packers GM is at his pro day. The Titans head coach Mike Vrabel was at the Tennessee Pro Day, as was Eric Bieniemy, the Commanders' offensive coordinator. So couple of these bigwigs coming out to the Tennessee Pro Day. Jalen Hyatt, I don't know if he ran today. I don't know. I saw him doing the short shuttle. I didn't get any numbers on that, but Jalen Hyatt at least participated, did some workouts at his pro day, but not all of them. Cedric Tillman, we saw him do the 40, and on Cody's little stopwatch there, click, click, Cedric Tillman ran a 4.53. This one looked like it was, actually, I shouldn't even say that. I didn't see I didn't watch it. I was preparing for the show after work, and I didn't get to watch it, but I don't know if it's more or less accurate. than Cody's time on the Quentin Johnston, because based on the Quentin Johnston, 4.43 to 4.50, that's a 0.07 that we're adding from Cody's couch stopwatch. So if that's the case, Cedric Tillman would have ran a 4.6. I think he ran faster than that. I'm going to trust Cody's 4.53. At the combine, though, when he's live and in person, that's when the stopwatch hits. That's when the stopwatch is important, and that's when it matters, because so many of these NFL teams, you don't realize, they don't use the official times at the combine. Player Profiler does, because that's what we have to go off. we are not very good at detecting that very first movement. And so that's why 40 times that our hand times are typically delayed. But so many NFL teams will take that information and say, well, if we're going to have different times from our pro day to the combine, because stopwatch versus laser, why don't we just time them all ourselves? Why doesn't every single prospect that runs at the combine, we ignore the official time, we use our data, and that way everyone's on the same playing field. Everyone has that user error. So it's interesting that teams used it that way. And because of that, you get all sorts of discrepancies. You hear that Tank Dell, he ran a 4.43 instead of a 4.5. All sorts of interesting things. Unofficial time for Quentin Johnson. Let's go. See it coming in here. I am excited. Please be under 4.5, please. 4.51 and 4.49. Perfect. So under that 4.5, that puts him at 4.54. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Still good. But 4.51 also would have put him at 4.56, which is also good. So yeah, we're good with Quentin Johnson. Those are his unofficial. We'll see what Draft Scout ends up putting out when those numbers come in, but excited to see that. Not excited to see Cody go with a 4.60 for Eric Cray, the running back. Didn't like that. Hope that one's wrong. And well, I guess this was Abanacanda's first run. And Cody got him at a 4.44. Scouts got him at about a 4.41. So that one adds up. His second run that apparently was in the 4.3s. Israel Abanacanda is fine. Lots of boxes checked at all these pro days. Anthony Richardson, check. Lots of check marks for him. Quentin Johnson checks those boxes, check marks for him. Kendra Miller doesn't check the boxes, but still, we'll give him a check mark for being in the right weight range. Hendon Hooker, he's progressing well. Check mark that off. Jalen Hyatt, check that off. He did stuff at his pro day today. Cedric Tillman, check that off. I love pro day season. I really do. Don't love this news on Jalen Carter. Now, this is just rumors. I'm just reporting what I read out on Twitterverse, out from The Athletic. Apparently, the Raiders have taken Jalen Carter off their draft board. So if I'm wrong, and the Raiders aren't trading up to 3 to take a quarterback, to take Anthony Richardson, it won't be Jalen Carter that they draft at 7. And following that initial report by The Athletic, I didn't see who sourced this because I was just about to go live, but I saw several teams are out on Jalen Carter, have completely removed him from their draft board. And that just sucks to see. Sucks to see all of the off-field stuff impacting this young man's life. We hope he can get it together. We hope he can have a successful career in spite of all this. But for now, we just have to go off of those whispers. And we have to go off of reports and interviews and conversations. And there was a very interesting interview/conversation today from the Cincinnati Bengals executive vice president. So it's a long conversation. A lot of questions are asked. But the one that's circling on Twitter is the Joe Mixon. They asked, well, is Joe Mixon, is he in the plans to be the starting running back next year? Oh, it was so awkward. It was so uncomfortable. And you read it. The quote was, Joe Mixon is our starting running back right now. But then you go and listen to it, and the space between the words is so much more valuable than any headline, any written journalism could do. It was awkward. I implore all of you to go and find the executive vice president of the Cincinnati Bengals, whose name escapes me, talking about Joe Mixon. Yeah, he's our running back right now. In terms of the past and everything, he's our guy. He's our guy. And then talks about how there's a lot of legal issues that they hope get resolved, and it's clear that the Bengals have moved on from Joe Mixon mentally. And the only reason they're being coy about it is, well, a couple of reasons they're being coy. Number one, they haven't released him yet. And you don't go out and make it public before you do it. That would be disrespectful. But number two, there are legal issues going on. Joe Mixon has a couple of recent legal issues that we're not going to get into, but those complicate things. From the Bengals' perspective, if that ends up going south for Joe Mixon, they can cut him with and get the guaranteed money back, essentially. So it frees up more cap space, and they don't have to wait until June 1st. That's the other thing. They could designate Joe Mixon a post-June 1st cap, or cut, and save $10 million in cap space. Or they could wait until June 1st. It works the same way either way. Cut Joe Mixon now, they save $5 million. After June 1st, they save over $10 million. And based on these comments today, based on the reaction to this question, the careful dancing around the topic of Joe Mixon, it is clear that he is not in their future. And then I saw some people reply, well, why don't you go out and check again? Because go watch what she said on Joe Burrow, on T. Higgins, on Logan Wilson. It's awkward too. And yeah, it is awkward. You can tell she's dancing around the question, trying to not complicate it, knowing that we're probably going to re-sign all three of these guys, and just the tone. And all I can do is listen to these conversations and go with what I hear. And the tone about Joe Burrow's contract is just so jovial and so joking. I'm going to give you the same answers that the Eagles and the Chargers gave. It's the same answer. We're trying. Ha ha ha. This is fun. And then T. Higgins and Logan Wilson. It becomes, well, yeah, there are ways to make that happen, and it's still a positive conversation. But then you hear the Joe Mixon, and while it's awkward listening to her dance around the Mixon, or while it's awkward listening to her dance around the Burrow and the Higgins and the Logan Wilson, it's got a positive tone to it. Joe Mixon, it is uncertain, and it is very, very cautious. Joe Mixon getting cut by the Cincinnati Bengals, making my mock draft from last night, even more accurate. Bijan Robinson going to the Bengals. But we've got other news. It's not just Joe Mixon and the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got Odell Beckham, who has multiple offers already on the table, including the New York Jets. And we don't know if these are $15 million offers, what he was hoping for, but Odell Beckham at least has offers. My prediction is Odell Beckham is waiting for the Aaron Rodgers trade to officially go through. And at that point, he will accept the Jets' offer. But I don't blame Odell Beckham for holding out until it's official. Because if this deal goes south and the Jets mess this up and they end up with Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback, Odell doesn't want to be there. And I can't blame him. Can't blame him at all. Not in the slightest. Odell, he's holding out. We have other receiver news. Marvin Jones re-signs with the Lions. They're bringing all of these veterans back. All of these good character guys coming back to the locker room. Marvin Jones spends 2 years with Jacksonville Jaguars. Returns to the Lions. $3 million contract. $5 million total in incentives. Fine. Solid depth piece. Solid signing. No complaints there. They need an upgrade at wide receiver 3. Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond, and Jamison Williams. Outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, they need someone more exciting opposite Jamison Williams. Just my feelings, though. It's fine. I just really, really want this Lions offense to be high-flying, high-scoring. They need a DJ Chark replacement. That's all. Speaking of Odell Beckham, forgot to throw this in. The Ravens are interested in Odell Beckham, but they're also interested in Courtland Sutton, and they're interested in DeAndre Hopkins. The Ravens are actually trying at wide receiver. They're going out for big names, and I know Odell and DeAndre, they're older guys, but outside of acquiring DJ Moore, Odell and DeAndre Hopkins, two best wide receivers available this offseason. Courtland Sutton, he's younger. He's not as good as those two, but he's up up there too in terms of potential. At least the Ravens are finally trying something we have not seen for many, many years. It's been the same lather, rinse, repeat. Oh, you want the exciting big name free agent wide receiver? How about cap cut Jeremy Maclin? How about at least they tried with Brashad Perriman too, but how about Brashad Perriman? How about all of... Don't get me started on the Ravens wide receivers. Though, we must talk about the Arizona Cardinals. They no longer have to pay for their meals. The players on the Arizona Cardinals, they don't have to pay for their sandwich at lunch. They don't have to pay for their salad anymore. The Cardinals were the only team in the NFL where players were forced to pay for their own meals. Every other NFL team provides lunch, dinner, any meal that you are consuming at the facility, you are provided. The Cardinals took the approach, either bring your own or pay us. So that's done with. That's been changed. Jonathan Gannon reportedly making some sweeping changes across the organization for the Arizona Cardinals, making sure that this is a more positive work environment. And Sean Payton making some sweeping changes for the Denver Broncos. Apparently, Sean Payton is not impressed with the physical fitness of these Broncos. He doesn't want to put on the pads anytime soon. Sean Payton very well may wait as long as he can to put the shoulder pads on for the Denver Broncos. And the reason behind it is he thinks his team needs more time in the weight room, more time in the conditioning room, more time running, building up their physical fitness, endurance, looking at all the injuries that the Denver Broncos had last year. Sean Payton is not impressed. Sean Payton is not accepting it, and so we're going to see a completely different offseason program for the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson is no longer in charge. Nathaniel Hackett is no longer bumbling through it because, according to some in the Denver Broncos facility last year, there were no one-on-ones. There were no 7-on-7. So with Sean Payton in the building, the Denver Broncos, they're going to get back to the fundamentals. They're going to get back to conditioning. They're going to be back to a physically fit team, one that can compete or at least hang on while Sean Payton screams at them.
At Capital One, we've got what you need to improve your credit. And within your first 2 years with us, we'll send you personalized emails to celebrate your wins, like when you pay your credit card on time. You've got this. We've got you. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Listening to The Trade Gods.
What's going on, Player Profiler faithful? Welcome to the latest episode of The Trade Gods. I am one of your co-hosts, Matty Kuum, and I am joined by my fellow Trade God brethren, Jason Allwine. What's going on, Jay?
What is up, man? I am ready to talk trades. I'm ready to chop it up. I'm ready to talk about whatever we're going to talk about tonight. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back, just me and you. You know, we've had some guests the past few weeks. It's just me and you, my friend.
We've been having on the guests, and let me hit y'all with a teaser right now. Boy, oh boy, do we have a big guest next week. So absolutely get ready for a banger 1 week from today. But you don't have to wait for a week because tonight we have a absolutely guaranteed grade A banger episode. Jason's taken me to trade court, and I am here to defend or persecute some of our traders that we found on the Trade Finder. tool on playerprofile.com. And obviously, we got some buys and some sells, and we are here drinking a little bit of brouhahas
Yes, sir.
because the trade gods are having a boys' night. No guest, no one's around, just a couple of mano y mano broing out on a great Thursday night. So let's get into it. So we scoured the trade finder on playerprofile.com. We looked up and down and we found 3 trades. And guess what I'm going to do? So I am taking the role of the lawyer. I'm taking a side of the plaintiff or the defendant, and I am going to argue for or against. And then I have my judge here, my main man, Jason.
Yeah.
He's going to lay down the law on whoever loses this trade. So without further ado, ladies and gents, let's step right on into the trade court.
All rise for the honorable trade gods.
All right, so the first trade on tonight's list. Whew, they get better and better as we go. The first one, Team A is receiving Rashad White. Team B is receiving Darren Waller. So I am taking the role of the persecutor working for the plaintiff, correct? That's how we're doing this, right? That's the law talk.
Yeah.
That's the the law. Let's go. So, Rashad White. He's running back 13 on playerprofile.com in our dynasty ranks. Even though he wasn't all that efficient in 2022. 3.6 true yards per carry, 4.3 yards per touch. He was 35th in yards created per touch. But he showed that he can catch the ball. He was 11th in receptions at the running back position. He was pretty good out of the backfield, and he only scored 3 touchdowns. That number is going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay hasn't brought anybody in town. They've only brought in Chase Edmonds. So you know the volume has to increase. They can't just give the ball to Chase Edmonds. They're not going to use high-end draft capital. Rashad White is the guy. I know the offense is going to take a massive step back. That's the only thing you can do when you go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. But it doesn't matter because what do we always say about the running backs? We want volume. We want chances. He's going to get the goal line carries. He's going to get a lot of the third down work. He is going to be a massive volume getter in Tampa Bay. And let me talk about Darren Waller. Darren Waller. Darren Waller, he was just dealt to the New York Giants, which you could argue was good for his value. He's probably the number 1 pass catcher in New York as of right now. But he's only tight end 12 on our player profile at Dynasty ranks. And over the past 2 seasons, so since 2020, he's only played in 20 total games. So he's often injured. So here I stand for you, Judge, that the Rashad White side won this handily. Darren Waller, you don't even want this guy. So I present you, Judge. Team A won this with flying colors.
And I hear your case. Prosecution. You may rest. And I think I might have to rule in favor of that as well. I think Team B, if you could please step forward to the stand. I don't know why you would be trading such a young stud running back for an aging tight end. I know that you might be attached to days past of Darren Waller. However, I must give you the first trade ankle monitor of the night. And for the next football season, you must consult the trade gods before sending out another trade.
Okay. I think that's fair. So you are in lockdown, but you're not a lost cause. You just have to present your next happening to the trade gods.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair punishment.
For the whole season, you know, you're not making any trades. Like you're you're done yourself.
Okay. So where would you say how bad was this trade? Like massively in the Rashad White favor? Do you think it was close? What did you think overall?
I mean, I would say I'm not even like necessarily like crazy high on Rashad White for next year. I see the points and I like it. I do think he has, you know, the efficiency metrics kind of going against him. But I mean, I don't really want to take the risk on Darren Waller. like really at all. So I mean, I know he could hit the ceiling and maybe play a full season, but it's not that exciting to me. So I mean, I would rather have Rashad White, and I mean, you just take you take the young running back in a dynasty league, and you're happy with that. You can find Darren Waller production more than likely somewhere else.
And honestly, like, I argued the Rashad White side. I'm not all that super high on Rashad White's value. I'm not opposed to selling. I just think that this return was super light. And on the flip side, I'm also really not opposed to buying Darren Waller. He, like I said, going into training camp, he's probably the primary pass catcher for Danny Jones. But you could probably get him a whole lot less than a top 15 running back in Dynasty.
A lot less.
So it wasn't a good idea. And our boy John in the chat, it's prosecutor, not persecutor. Someone's watched more Law and Order than I have. So John, thank you very much for that. So it's prosecutor, not persecutor. But for the Trade Gods Trade Court, maybe it is persecutor. Yeah. It's better. It's more like intense, right? I think. I don't know. Make a case, because that's what I was in the mode for tonight, was making a case. Speaking of a case, Judge, we have our second trade. May I present it to you?
Yes, please.
Trade number 2 is Team A is acquiring Jahan Dotson in a 2023 round 1. It is the 11th pick in round 1, and they are giving away Drake London to do this. Okay, so I am taking the side of the defendant. Defendant. John, check me on that again.
Yeah, definitely.
That's right. Here we go.
Defendant.
The defendant.
The defense.
I am helping the defense. I am the defense. So Jahan Dotson in the round 1, 11 pick in the first round. It's not bad, because we are talking about a 12-team Superflex league. Jahan Dotson in the player profiler ranks, he ranks at a wide receiver 33. He was 8th in target premium and 6th in production premium. So, the kid was a baller. There was no doubt about it that Jahan Dotson has a future in the NFL. Matter of fact, he had a 2.14 fantasy points per target. That was the 6th highest amongst qualified wide receivers. The 111, let's break it down and call it what it probably is. Okay, right now it's a pick. But in 1 month's time, it's probably going to be the wide receiver 4 or 5, or maybe the running back 4 or 5 in Superflex. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be as exciting as it is right now. You know what is going to be exciting? Drizzy Drake London. Drizzy Drake London, wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons, is the wide receiver 11 on our player profiler ranks right now. And why is that? You might be asking, Judge. Well, it's because Drake London showed that even in a subpar offense, even with a mediocre quarterback, he was an absolute alpha wide receiver. He had a 32.4% target rate. That was the second most in the NFL. He had a 2.40. Let me hear that back. Judge and jury, 2.40. Yards per route run. That was 11th best in the NFL. And a 2.09 yards per team pass attempt. That was top 16 in the league. And with his new quarterback, the quarterback going into 2023, perceivably. That's a word, right, Judge?
Perceivably, yeah, I think so.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder. He played 4 games last year with Drake London. And in those 4 games, Drake London, although he didn't explode, he didn't break out in a way that said, everybody look at him, he still averaged 13.6 points a fantasy game, which is more than the yearly average in the 12 games that Jahan Dotson played in 2022. So imagine if Desmond Ridder takes a second-year leap. Or, Judge, close your eyes. Imagine we see in the news tomorrow, trade accepted, and the Atlanta Falcons brings aboard Lamar Jackson.
Woo!
So, Judge, with all that in mind, Team A gets Jahan Dotson in the 111. Team B gets Drake London. How are you ruling on this trade?
Wow, that was a great great opening statement from counsel for Team B. Great job, really great job. You know, I went into this trade wanting the the John Dotson.
I just mesmerized you in a way you wouldn't even believe.
You got me good because I mean,
did.
I'm thinking about it now, and I do. You know, Drake London was a sell candidate of mine a while back, so I could feel like, you know, this might be selling low on Jahan Dotson, also by throwing in the 111. I was thinking going into this that you might not be able to argue that Jahan Dotson and Drake London have that difference of a season next year, but the upside is tantalizing for Drake London. The true alphaness is starting to shine, and I do like it. I do like it a lot, and I'm going to rule in favor of Team B here. I'm actually surprised. I know Atlanta's not going anywhere. I don't even think they're going to get Lamar Jackson, but you know, that was still a good enough throw for me. Makes me happy. And you know, with the bad defense that they have, they still have to play catch up. We're going to get volume. Looking back at Week 18, Drake London, I believe, had 100 yards and a touchdown. So I'm taking it. I like it. And you know, usually if a quarterback is bad, like some expect Desmond Ridder to be, they usually are bad because they lock on to their wide receiver one and they can't move away from it. So, you know, screw it. Give me the Drake London side. I'm not going to dish out too much of a punishment here for Team A. I think at the end of the day it's a pretty fair trade, but perhaps just a civil settlement, something small.
A quick monetary value can be put on this. There's no need for massive punishment, and I agree. It's a pretty fair trade overall. We got one more trade that we are going to present here in Trade Court, so stick around right when we hear back from a word from one of our sponsors.
Oh, hey, it's Mr. Breakout Finder coming at you. The Breakout Finder features 3 key tools. A database of metrics that include speed score, college dominator, breakout age, but also Breakout Finder only stats like dynamic score, level of competition, teammate score. All of these things are part of the overall Breakout Finder algorithm that pinpoints the probability that a player will break out. Everyone's talking about my model does this and my model does that. Well, we give you the data points that go into the model. We have a feature that lets you compare players, and then we give you the precise probability of every wide receiver, every running back, sorted and filterable by class year. So when I'm talking to my friends and I need to show them why I'm so bullish on player X, I pull out the Breakout Finder and bam, there he is. So go to the App Store, go to Google Play. It's $5 to get the Breakout Finder, and then a couple extra bucks to get some of these additional enhanced stats. Go download it and thank me later.
Welcome back, and let's get into that third and final trade. This one should be a banger. If you're familiar with the show, you already know where my stance is on this player. So trade number 3 is a blockbuster. Team A is acquiring A.J. Dillon, Treylon Burks in the 2.03 in this year's rookie draft. Team B is receiving DJ Moore, the 301 and the 303 in this year's class. I will be taking the side of the defense, helping out our defendant. So, Judge, I understand this looks like a lot. With some young talent, the best draft pick in the trade, going to the same time. But A.J. Dillon, he's running back 35 and player profile as dynasty ranks. Treylon Burks, yeah, he's wide receiver 24, but has really proven that he can handle a top 25 season. In the 2.03, it's looking more like the wide receiver 5 through 8 in the class, or running back 6 through 8 in the class. So we're not really talking about a game changer here with this pick. Like I said, A.J. Dillon, top 35 running back. It's because he's part of a 2-man backfield. Aaron Jones, he is not going anywhere. He restructured his deal to stick around. They're not going to just feed A.J. Dillon. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to split the backfield. A.J. Dillon is going to have an Aaron Jones problem this year like he has his entire career. Treylon Burks. You know, he was a first-round draft pick last year, 18th overall. He's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
But he's part of a dud offense. And Judge, can you tell me who's going to be the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans?
I still think it's going to be Malik Willis.
Malik Willis? Does he bode any bit of confidence in you?
No.
Judge, can you tell the jury, the men and women of the jury, about Malik Willis? Is he any good at throwing the football?
To put it lightly, I mean, no, not really, no.
No. And yet, Treylon Burks showed some flashes. He did. He had a couple of good games. One of them was with Josh Dodds. Is Josh Dodds in Tennessee any longer, Judge?
I don't think so.
No, he signed with Cleveland, I believe, to be the
That's
backup there. So, are we looking at Tannehill as a backup? Are we looking at him, Malik Willis? I don't really know if that's all that great. And plus, Judge, was Treylon Burks healthy all year last year?
No.
He missed 4 games with turf toe. Turf toe. He doesn't even play on turf, Judge. He plays on grass.
He got it in an away game.
Hey, it was 4 games. It caused a 4-game absence, Judge. 4 games.
Sorry, the judge isn't supposed to argue with counsel. I'll back up. Remember my position here. Continue.
We need to get you a powdered wig for next time. Like one of those like George Washington things, right? But also, Judge, he it wasn't just a turf toe. He also had a concussion and missed 2 games with that too. Okay, so he's not worthy. I mean, he's not reliable yet in his career. He's not. And now, let me present you DJ Moore. DJ Moore has been one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL over his career. He's played 5 seasons, 3 of which were over 1,100 yards receiving. And last year at 888, well, I mean, come on, look at his quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, washed Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield, bump after bump after bump after bump. And now, Judge, where did he get traded to?
Chicago.
To the Chicago Bears. I've made my case already. Why DJ Moore and Justin Fields are going to be a match made in heaven, in which will elevate both stock to the next level. I've already talked about that. Check out a previous show if you want to hear more about that. I'm here to talk about this trade right here, right now. Last year, DJ Moore finished as the wide receiver 33 on a points per game basis. So that doesn't really bode much confidence. But when I tell you he was the 7th highest in unrealized air yards, meaning his quarterback just simply couldn't get him the ball. His target accuracy rating on playerprofile.com, 6.3. You know what? How good that was this year, Judge?
Outside the top 30.
Try 97.
Wow. I mean, I was right? But
You were absolutely right, Judge. You're handsome and amazing, and everything about you is correct in the best. I'm not trying to kiss up. It's just
thank
true.
you, counsel.
Yeah, the council is supposed to suck up to the judge, right? That is part of being a lawyer, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Harry Snowman, let me know. You're a lawyer. He's in the chat. What's up, Harry? What's up, Rob? And on top of all of this, DJ Moore had a 35.6% dominator rating. That was good for top 5 amongst qualified wide receivers. So when I'm telling you that I'm trading a running back 2 in an offense, an unproven, injury-prone youngster on a bad offense, and a meh pick for a future top 12 receiver in fantasy. Right now, he's wide receiver 14 in our dynasty ranks and only climbing. So, Judge, that's why I'm presenting the case that Team B win this trade by a landslide.
Great speech. This is a tough one to rule on. I do think it's a little bit closer than counsel is leading on. I do like.
I can't be biased with DJ Moore. Everybody knows that.
But I mean, I get the logic. I do. I do think that perhaps a little too low on Treylon Burks. Perhaps. I don't know for sure. I don't quite know where I'm standing on him yet going forward, but I think I'm at least lukewarm on him, which usually means, I'm okay. I'm taking the chance on him, and I like it a lot. I mean, if Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback, which Harry Snowman puts in the chat, it says that, I've seen that the Titans organization expects him to be the starter. It just, to me, that doesn't sound confident enough. And I know that they can free up like $19 million by releasing him. So, I mean, I think something might be coming that way, but I don't know. I don't really know. And even if he is quarterback, I think that helps Treylon Burks. It does. We look at a better play action offense. You are right about A.J. Dillon, right? I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is leaving Green Bay, we're talking about a quarterback coming in to learn, right? I mean, I know Jordan Love has been learning for years now, but still, I don't think that's going to be as enticing of an offense as it is with both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in a really good Packers offense. And I like the upside of DJ Moore. I do. And, there's some picks that you can take with that 301 and 303 in this rookie draft.
I didn't even argue that. So, Judge, thank you for bringing up. Tell the people listening what you can get here with those early round threes. They're not nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put any names to it right now. You've put me on the spot, Council.
You could see somebody like Jalen Reed there, Jaden Reed that we like. If you want to get, there's a lot of sleeper receivers there. Running back wise, in the early parts of the third, Chase Brown is someone that comes to mind. Izzy Abandakanta might be there early. We don't know if they're for sure playmakers, but as of right now, they're definitely someone to get excited about, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, even the tight ends, right? There's a huge tight end class.
Very good call. Very good call, Judge. You're just so smart, Judge.
Yeah. Thank you. And this is, if I remember, tight end premium league.
It is a tight end premium league. Yes, it is. 14-team PPR Superflex TEP.
So I like it there. The full PPR I think will help DJ Moore a little bit, but I don't know. I think that this is a little too close to rule in favor of that team getting one big asset. If I'm assuming here in a 14-team league, A.J. Dillon might become startable in some weeks. Treylon Burks is definitely startable most weeks, and you could end up getting someone with that 2-3. You really can.
Absolutely.
So I think
Tajay Spears could be there. Kendre Miller could be there. Yep. Roshan.
Yep.
There are some people who could slip to that 203. Jalen Hyatt I've seen slip in some mocks.
Yeah. So I think that Team A is setting themselves up for a little bit more depth and success for next season, but I like the shot taken for DJ Moore. I do. And therefore, only one team is getting the Trade Gods ankle monitor, and that is only one of the teams in Trade 1 that traded away Rachaad White for Darren Waller. That's the only team getting an ankle monitor. There's no physical punishment here. But you've got to at least send out a message to the league saying that I'm sorry I made the trade. It's just I really, really love DJ Moore.
Okay, so to pull down the fourth wall or look through the fourth wall, whatever the saying is, I was the one who made the DJ Moore trade. Yep. So the only trade I could not successfully defend tonight was my own. So now, if you are in the TGIF, you will be getting a message about sorry about this trade, but I love DJ Moore. So expect that immediately following this very recording. So let's recap the trade court. So I went 2-1, not bad, right? As a lawyer.
Yeah. No.
67% effective.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I just don't know if maybe overall it's a loss because I couldn't defend my own trade. So as a lawyer I'm okay, but as a trade god, maybe I've lost.
No, it was very, very close, and I think over the end of the year we might be. I'm just a little personally just not as high on DJ Moore, but if he hits your expectations, that's a win and a half for you, my friend.
We'll see. Yeah, you're right. No, I think that was absolutely fair analysis. So, to quick recap, we like Rachaad White a lot more than we like Darren Waller in the first trade. We're kind of split, but we understand why the Drake London side probably won this trade. But Jahan Dotson in the 111 is absolutely a very good return. We like Dotson, and we think the 111 could be something. And the third trade, Jason is saying that maybe I should quit fantasy football and become a lawyer because I'm better at defending other people's trades than my own.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You've got to trade up for the guy you like. You do.
You've got to. You do. So that's going to wrap up trade court. That was fun. I love your punishments. They're very, very specific. Did you think about these all day? Do you think about what you're going to rain down on these trades?
No. Believe it or not, back in high school, I was an improv champion. So
I absolutely believe that. You are a yes and king. I can sense it.
yeah.
So let's
yes.
go.
And so what's next?
Very, very good. Okay, so that's gonna wrap up trade court. Let's go into the buy or sell section of the show. Jason, what are we doing? Are we gonna start with buys or sells?
Let's buy. Let's buy.
Ooh, I love starting with buys. Stick around. We're getting right into it.
It's time to buy and sell.
So the first buys of the night is James Cook, and I'm saying buy the 105. Jason, tell everybody listening why they should go right to their leagues and try to buy the running back from the Buffalo Bills, James Cook.
Yeah, and this is I mean, last week you were buying Damian Harris, and I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's a good buy. Just because, I mean, I think you're going to want anyone in this offense, and I like that. I like that James Cook has taken a little bit of a hit in value because of that Damian Harris signing. But, I mean, I think you can expect at the very least more of the same and potentially a little bit more. The only thing I'll concede is that he might not score as many touchdowns, right? But even then, I mean, there's plenty to like about him. Damian Harris is definitely more of a pure runner than Devin Singletary. So at the very least, I think this passing down work will pretty much be exclusively James Cook's. We might see Harris get like 2 catches a game, something like that, but nowhere near what Singletary was getting. He even had a game, Devin Singletary, last year with 9 receptions. I mean, that's a pretty decent ceiling. The Bills do like to throw to their running back, so I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. I think we'll see some games where James Cook's getting like 6 receptions, maybe even more. And I mean, on that offense, that's something you're going to want. Last year, too, with some efficiency metrics, he was top 3 in true yards per carry, yards per touch, and breakaway run rate. So, I mean, he's an elusive runner. He's an explosive runner. Gets some pass down work on a great offense. Not much you can really dislike about him, to be honest, even with, you know, the potential that he might lose some goal line carries.
Yeah, and you don't take him that early that they did in 2022. I think people quickly forget that he was the 3rd running back off the board in last year's draft. They went Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, and James Cook. I was singing the praises of Damian Harris just a week ago, and it's for a certain reason, but it's more of the role more than it is his skill set. Where James Cook, he's definitely skilled, and if he gets an uptick in volume, yeah, that's a good opportunity. And given the fact that they did just sign a running back, there are still there are still rumors swirling that they'll go running back in the draft. That's going to depress the value of a guy like James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can get him now. I think that's a good, smart play. I do like James Cook. I do roster him in a number of dynasty leagues. So I understand the thinking there. So I'm with you. I'm saying you buy the 105. This is more of a super flex conversation than 1 QB. And here's why. The hate for Will Levis has gone too far. It's gone way too far. People are calling the next Zach Wilson. People are calling Will Levis a bust before he's even taken the field, before he's even been selected. And I think when you grab the 105, you're I think a lot of people in fantasy right now with the 105 are looking to trade back. So let's say you have the 111. You take the 111 and you're running back 4 in the squad, or a receiver piece, or a 2024 second, something. I think you can get up those handful of spots relatively easier than you could have a month ago.
Yep.
And I think that is because there's been too much hate around Will Levis. So most rookie mocks we're seeing now, Bijan at the 101, and a run of 4 quarterbacks or 3 plus JSN. So if you get the 105, you're solidifying a quarterback in Superflex. I don't think it's going to be Bryce Young. I think it's going to be Will Levis. I think in most leagues, you will have a chance to draft Will Levis at the 105. So I'm trying to buy that pick with keeping in mind that I'm getting a quarterback that I do think has tremendous upside. And the reason why I love the upside of Will Levis is because I do believe he is going to the Colts. My gut is telling me that the 104 will be used on Will Levis, and I love Will Levis in this offense. Big arm. You talked about Ryan Tannehill being able to execute a play action. Imagine Will Levis with Jonathan Taylor. Michael Pittman, Alec
Yeah.
Pierce, Jelani Woods. These are big athletes who can catch the ball downfield, and we saw in his pro day what kind of cannon he's attached to. Will Levis absolutely can succeed at the NFL level. I don't like that everyone is absolutely, you know, kicking him off. They're just writing
Yeah.
him off already. So I think you can get the 105 at a discount, cheaper than you could have a month ago, and still come away with a quarterback you're going to be able to use in Superflex. So use this opportunity now. Use this little time frame before the NFL draft, because if he gets top 5, top 10 draft capital, poof, gone. Just like that, the value at the 105 goes away. People all of a sudden will be back on the train. Do it now while they think he's going to slip to the 18th overall pick. He's going to slip outside the top 20. He's not. He's going top 10. I think all quarterbacks, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, quarterback are going up the board. That includes Will Levis. So get the 105 now. Get yourself a quarterback with tremendous upside in Superflex before the price skyrockets.
I like it. I like it a lot. Is it? I mean, like, is this buy candidate Will Levis? It's not the one. Like, this is strictly for Will Levis.
It's with Will Levis in mind. I guess I could say with the ability that if it's Bryce Young and you don't like Bryce Young,
Yeah.
you can go JSN.
Yeah.
So there is pivot points. I guess I should mention that. Thank you for bringing that up, Jason,
Yeah.
because that's a really, really good point. That it doesn't have to be lockstep on Will Levis. There are pivot points here where if Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs get round 1 draft capital, there's a pivot point there to a running back. So I guess you're right. That's a great point to bring up. Thank you for that.
It's a very flexible pick. I like that a lot. I mean, top 3 are Roshan, 2 quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, more than likely in Superflex league.
Roshan? You're taking Roshan? The
Sorry,
101?
Bijan. Roshan, Bijan. See, this is why NFL teams like Roshan. Their names are so similar. And they just go to sleep at night thinking that they got Bijan Robinson. But yeah, so I mean,